Or is this the same as this?
That's this. I'm just not giving it to Arthur because he
No, give it to me. No, come on. I'm not going to shy away from my fears.
Have it. Of course, you're brave.
Oh, that is absolutely gross, isn't it?
I felt,
See, that's why I wasn't.
The thing that I have
it.
definitely smells like this.
Right.
It smells like this.
Well, have some more.
Thanks. But it reminds me of like, do you know like fart gas when you're a kid? Basically just that.
They'll fart gas or whatever age you are.
So
and then the question is, why?
I'm not laughing. Well, and I will explain. Okay, so here we go. This is what we're going to do. You know, probably...
Are we videoing again now?
Oh, yeah, I imagine
okay,
so.
Cool.
Us being us. Yeah. With Harry, when we started to film, and Harry's going, what exactly are you going to do? How should we do? Where are we going to sit? Like, but Harry, we're already filming. So, right. This is what my master plan is. That's at 5.
5%.
Which is exactly 5% too
much. Yeah.
No, but however, having said that, I'm all on board with using a little bit in something.
This is what we're going to do. I wasn't going to start with the civet. I was going to start with testing green things, but we have here the sexiest scent on the planet ever, IMHO, which is a fragrance that we know works. It's also a fragrance which we know we can customize. So
it's got room in it.
It's got room. It's like a band which plays really well, but you can invite a flute player in as well, and it won't spoil it all.
I think this is a really good idea though for everyone like doing perfumery, because if you have one like base like this, one perfume, you know how it behaves, and it's got like common materials. It's quite like indiscreet in the middle.
Exactly.
And if you just make a massive bottle like that, then every time you've got a new material and you're wondering like how might this work in a formula, you can just go and add a known amount of this and your new thing, and you can firstly work out at what level that new thing might be good at, and secondly what it actually does to the blend as opposed to just on its own.
You have read my mind. Actually, I don't think we need to do quite this.
It's almost like, well, it is your magical mystery material.
Yeah, I've got my magical mystery material is 1/3.
I would ask what it is, but I feel like I need to.
No, it's not. It's not magic, and it's not a mystery. But what it is precisely 1/3 Isoe Super, 1/3 Hedione, and 1/3 ethylene brassylate.
Okay, and I can imagine that.
It kind of it's so annoying. It kind of magics things.
Yeah.
That's 4. I'm just 3.99 is 4. I've decided.
4 grams.
Yeah, 4 grams of sexy scent on the
I did a video on the Garage Manifold.
Oh yeah.
Because it took me ages to get around to making that. But once I'd made that, I started doing the same thing with that, because that was also quite a good base I felt to do that with.
It is, you're absolutely right. Yes. And I've made some perfumes using those materials, not necessarily same proportions, but all the right notes, not necessarily in the right order. So, the sexiest scent on the planet, always write everything down, IMHO. And it's like civet
edition.
Yeah. Civet edition. Civet edition.
How about civet edition?
Absolutely. So that's 4 grams of sexy scent on the planet at 15% strength, because that's what I sell it at. So I think we will not need a lot of this thing.
The clouds are playing havoc with me today.
Oh, it's cruel. We haven't had the police over yet, or the ravens. That's the book. I love an ink pen.
Yeah, I've got an ink pen. I bought some purple ink for it, and that was quite nice. What colour ink pen? Have you got green?
This is the ink of the year from Faber-Castell, I think.
Ink of the year?
Yeah, I can't remember its name. Oh, I'm a bit of a...
I got a little pot of like purple ink and like a, I don't know what you call it, the glass pot thing. That was quite nice.
Inkwell?
Yeah, and then you like spin it up through the the thing.
Refillable cartridge. We used to have to obviously use fountain pens at school, and I had purple ink, and I got told off for it.
Why? The only problem is, like, after a certain while, I found using the fountain pen, like, the ink would just go all over my hands and places and things.
I'm constantly covered in ink, but the thing about this one is that, I don't know, these just seem to be very good at not having you in it. This is an Esterbrook. Anyway, so while I'm there, civet synth at 5%.
Yeah.
So the moment I've put in I meant to do 0.1, but it's 0.11, so that's what I'm writing down, and I'm going to put the lid on and see, and I might add more, but it's probably all we need.
The only thing about I feel like the civet is a bit more towards like a bass note, so I would imagine that it's like if you just put it on the strip and smell it straight away, it's going to be difficult to work out if it actually is at the right level. You know what I mean? Like,
but the thing is about bass notes and all the rest is you smell bass notes at the beginning.
Sure. Yeah, no, I don't mean it like that as in you wouldn't be able to smell it. I mean more that I find sometimes they can like suddenly get stronger or seem to get stronger over time. So you could think it's balanced at the start and then you leave it for an hour and then suddenly the whole thing smells of civet if it was too strong. I guess that's more I mean.
Yeah, as the other stuff moves out the way.
Well, it's not just
obviously we don't
bass
have time
notes that do that. Yeah, we'd leave it. But it's not. There are a lot of things that are considered to be top notes that do that too. Yeah. You put a little bit in, and you come back in the day, and that's all you can smell.
Yeah.
They just seem to grow. But I'd say you get to know that.
Yeah.
Yes, Arthur.
I mean, I feel like for me that's why it's important to keep smelling things after like a day, not just at the time at once.
Yeah. You're right. So. What? So.
It's done something very specific to my nose.
Mm-hmm. But what you can't smell is civetiness.
Yeah.
And I think the trick with civet is not to have it in to the extent which you can actually tell it's there unless you know what you're really sniffing for.
Well, what it's done for me, is, you know that black pepper note that isn't there?
Yeah.
It's brought out the black pepper note that isn't there.
I think it smells much more grown up.
Yeah,
I think it smells a little bit more of a commitment than the original Sexiest Scent on the Planet ever. And it's like, Sexiest Scent on the Planet, it might be sort of a... This one you'd move in with. I mean, I think that one is more like just a date.
See, I feel like it is tricky because it's weird because I can't kind of like smell it, but at the same time I can kind of feel that it's there.
It's changed.
But it's also not, but it's in such a abstract way that I find it hard to pinpoint exactly what has changed.
Good.
Yeah.
And I can't decide if it's better or just the same, if that makes sense, or worse.
So we would probably need this over time, but civet edition. Write everything down. But what I was going to do, and what I will do, is do this with another material. So, I forgot where the labels. I will write on it. Dom's labels, let's have those. The civeted edition, like limited but not no. Sorry. Right, got that, and so my point. This is what I want. This is what we're doing on Patreon this month, is working with green things, and so I've been trying to strip things back down. So then let's not try 300 different green materials and put them all together and see what happens. So just see what it does to try it with Hedione, try it with Ice Super, try it with a musk, and I'm going to do another 4 grams of Sexiest Scent, because then I can take it apart and use it and add other things to it. So I know it's a bit lavish, and I know I'm going to get Simon probably going, how big are your samples? But this is sort of tiny for me because I'm now buying serious quantities of ethanol and stuff, and I've got a bit more space.
I think it depends a lot on how much you're buying in terms of raw materials, because the bulk prices really do go down, but also how good your scale is a little bit. Because if your scale's only going to 2 decimal places, then obviously trying to weigh out something like into one figure at the end wouldn't be the best idea. You see,
I've never had scales that go to more than 2 decimal places, because by the time you've turned around and looked back again, anything 3 decimal places is evaporated. So if you're working at that tiny amount, you're going to get inaccuracy anyway.
Yeah, sure.
So I know there's a kind of expectation that if you're working in tiny amounts, it's going to be very accurate because they seem accurate, but actually the bigger you can go, the more accurate you get. Sure. You know that, you're a scientist. But it is kind of almost counterintuitive.
Yeah. I use 3 decimal places, and I find it, for me, works like quite well in general.
Yeah. See, I just can't be asked.
But that's mostly because it's like the benefit of being maybe slightly less accurate, but also being very careful because when you weigh like that, you have to be like really careful in terms of making sure the scale actually registers it properly, and there's no like draft or anything. But also, like with not being able to spend so much on raw materials, if you're using small amounts, sometimes the benefit of just using smaller amounts, if it's going to keep you going a lot longer.
Yeah. Oh no, I completely get that.
And it can be worth it a lot of the times.
And I know a lot of people don't have. I mean, here I am with hundreds of bottles all over the place, and I've got my own studio, so it's different. Robert A. work in 100-gram samples at 100% strength.
I've seen the machines that they have in like Givaudan where they've got massive pipes, and they'll just weigh out like 5 grams of this, 20 grams of that, and 30 grams of that for like a 30-line formula.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
It's different. But so I'm at the point where I feel that this is a bit small, but I can get away with it.
Yeah, sure.
So that's why I do 2 decimal places, because drops are too big to be. I don't have pipettes that'll measure anything smaller than like 0.01.
Yeah.
So if I want to recreate it, I can get to 2 decimal points. I can't get to 3. I can't recreate 3.
See, I don't know what it is, but because I'm always using the same like pre-dilution roughly, even though like the different materials, they're different weights. I know it's like quite technical, but they like vary a lot. Once you've topped it up to like 90% with ethanol, most of the weight is consistent because of the ethanol. And I find that with the pipettes I use, for some reason, like they're very consistent in that one drop is almost always 0.016 grams.
Right.
And I can weigh that like 9 times out of 10. No, probably 10 times out of 10. And I've got to the point where I'm dropping the exact same amount, and it always reads the same. And that's, I guess, what's convinced me that it's probably like okay.
But then if you make a cup of tea, it's all gone, and you want to add something else to it, it's completely.
Let's put the lid on.
Let's put the lid on. Yeah, you got to put the lid on. But if you're doing it in beakers, there's no lid. So because I
don't do it in the beaker.
So I argue for.
I mean, if you put it in a beaker, it's definitely gonna evaporate quickly.
So most of the stuff I do is in beakers, not in these. What should we put in then? What of our green materials do you think we should? We want to see what happens to a sexiest scent on the planet when we add a green thing. Should we have galbanum?
I feel like peppermint.
Peppermint, let's do it. Ooh, sexiest mint on the planet ever.
I feel like peppermint can be difficult to use as well. Like, as in, if you go too strong with peppermint, it's not that it doesn't smell nice, but it just smells sharp.
The funny thing is, when people talk about things being difficult, it generally just means you've been putting too much in. It's that. Like it is. It's people. Oh, that's nice. They'll put it. So again, I'm going to go tiny. So I'll go 0.1 grams, and this is at 10%. But I think it'll probably smell more than the civet. Come on, behave. I mean, these are not... And then it's evaporated. No, right, okay. These are not perfect scales.
Yeah.
My posh ones are downstairs. They've already, broken a bit. But, okay, that belongs to the... sexiest sense.
If you go to 3... If you get a scale with 3 decimal places, though, right? Yeah. Because it's always going to evaporate. It doesn't matter how many decimal places you've got.
Yeah.
If you go to 3 and you're still measuring the amounts that you're measuring, it's actually probably more useful because you can see how much of it is evaporated while you've made your cup of tea.
True. Yeah.
To be fair,
I want not to know. This is such a tiny amount.
Ignorance is bliss. Yeah. No. Yeah.
But it's not like sorry. It's wrong to say I don't care. Sorry, I interrupted.
No. I mean, to be fair, I've never really noticed it evaporating too much. But then again, like...
Probably put the lids on.
I mean, to be fair, the lids I usually... Like, the sample bottle opening is very small. And I'm usually, like, pipetting it pretty quick.
Yeah.
And I think the thing is, though, just because the scale's 3 decimal places doesn't mean it's accurate to 3 decimal places. Because you can buy some scales to 3 decimal places which are like jewellery scales, and really they're only accurate to 0.005 or something. And in that case, the scale's probably as accurate as this one, which reads to 2 decimal places.
Yeah,
whereas if you actually want to weigh out 2-3 decimal places using that kind of scale, you need to get like a proper lab scale that's costing hundreds of pounds, which is what I have. So I think that is like something that a lot of people don't understand as well, maybe.
Whereas my proper lab scale is downstairs, and it still goes to 2 decimal places, because normally I'm not doing anything less than 100 grams of anything. So it's a proportion of the total. So if you're making a tiny amount, the proportion of the total is that much bigger when you're measuring small amounts. Whereas, it's that really.
Maybe I should bring the scales one time. We can try the scales.
Yeah. Come back with the scales. Oh God, you don't want to bring those here and then spend goodness sake trying to find a flat space for them and fiddling with the legs till it gets balanced. 10%. I just write down the thing. Let's see now if what this is like.
I feel like this whole video is just going to be us like
talking about scales. Yeah. Well, it's not that I don't want accuracy. It's not that. I just what I'm trying to encourage people to do is to make as large a sample as they possibly can, because recreating what you've done tiny is so much more difficult. So I know that one of my students, well, he made tiny amounts of things, and then multiplied them up, measured them at large amounts, and it smells nothing like what he thought he'd made. So the margin of error is a lot tinier if you make a big amount. That's the thing, isn't it?
Oh.
Okay.
I'm a fan.
I like that.
Yeah. It's not actually that minty, it's just really fresh.
Yeah, I'm a fan. I'm a fan of this.
Yeah, I like that. I like it a lot.
Yeah. So, the mintiest scent on the planet ever, IMHO.
So how much?
Hello, Nick. Come in. Come in. It's fine. You can be on it. Are you off? No, what?
Ricardo's here.
Oh, well, come see Ricardo. Great. You can bring him up. No, it's fine. We'll come down. Thanks. We've got a guest.
How much is in?
I just put 0.1 grams at 10% compared to 4 grams. So it's that would be like 6 times.
Okay.
Yeah, 1/60th of the formula.
Because I don't think you'd want to put more mint in this. But I like this amount. Like, this feels like if you're really going for a minty fragrance, you'd use it.
This would be.
It's
this
really
is enough.
good. Yeah.
And I think that's when people say mint is difficult. It's like because you put too much in. Galbanum's difficult. All greenery is difficult.
I also think mint and vanilla is a really good combination.
Yes.
But it does risk making it smell a bit like mint sweets.
Especially in ice cream.
That's my second best selling one. I think that what I did on my holidays is a mint, lavender, coconut is the seaside one.
Yeah.
It's interesting because what I did on my holidays is a fragrance where I can't pick out any of those ingredients.
Have you got that as well? Is that it?
Yes,
it's
some
here.
downstairs I think.
It might be downstairs. We might have to stop and then smell that. But yeah, all green things. I think if we're doing a film, all green materials I find take over if you let them.
Yeah.
And so the answer is don't let them, and then they'll behave.
Yeah.
That is my summary of what to do with green things. Oh, we should have said what green means is leafy. That's it. So if something smells leafy and herbal, sometimes, what do you mean by green fragrance?
Yeah.
Is it leafy, herbal?
Yeah, I feel like
grassy,
vibrant leaves kind of often.
Yeah.
Or like
Does it
juicy,
remind you?
bright.
Do you feel like you're sat in a bush?
Yeah. But
that's it.
But like a verdant bush, not like a old autumn bush.
Oh yeah, it can't be in winter when there aren't any leaves on it. That would be unpleasant.
Yes.